Good afternoon, buenas tardes. The following will be an announcement for our Spanish-speaking participants. De nuevo, buenas tardes. Para esta sesión se está ofreciendo interpretación simultánea al español. Para hacer uso de la misma, después de este aviso, en su barra de controles aparecerá un icono de interpretación, parece un globo terráqueo como ven en pantalla. Simplemente le dan clic y seleccionan español como su idioma. Ahora, si están a través de la aplicación móvil de Zoom, es decir, en celular, tableta, etcétera, presionarían primero los puntos suspensivos, luego interpretación y luego ese idioma. Gracias and thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Julie Henderson, Director of the Department of Pesticide Regulation. Welcome and thank you so much for joining us for our annual IPM Achievement Awards. This is a notable year. As you saw in the video played, this awards ceremony marks 30 years of DPR recognizing and celebrating leaders for their achievements in development, adoption, and promotion of integrated pest management practices. IPM is the foundation of safe, effective, and sustainable pest management practice throughout our agricultural, urban, and wildland environments. This week, we announced the addition of a new DPR leader to advance our work to foster and accelerate the transition to sustainable pest management across our state's agricultural, urban, and wildland settings. Michael Milligan joins the department's executive leadership team as its first Sustainable Pest Management Assistant Director and Special Advisor, and I'm very pleased to welcome Michael today. Thanks for joining us, Michael.
Hello, I'm Michael Milligan. I'm the new Sustainable Pest Management Assistant Director and Special Advisor here at DPR. I'm very excited to be here with you and honored to participate in celebrating the achievement of our awardees. January 19th of this year actually was my 15th anniversary working in integrated pest management. I started as a customer service representative, answering customer calls and selling services for an IPM certified PMP in San Francisco. For the past 13 years, I've been living in New York City, where I worked as an IPM specialist and a community coordinator at the New York City Department of Health Healthy Homes program, conducting field work on the effects of IPM in the homes of children with asthma and child healthcare utilization. I also coordinated department initiatives focusing on engaging with community stakeholders on pest management practices and pest prevention. From 2019 to now, I was the Integrated Pest Management Program Administrator at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. That's a mouthful. Tasked with protecting the museum's collection, campuses, visitors, and staff from pest activity. I'm thrilled to return home to California. It's my home state. I grew up in Antioch, California. I'm here to support CPR as we work to implement the objectives of the Sustainable Pest Management Roadmap for California, and to build on the foundation of IPM in this state and accelerate a system-wide approach and accelerate adoption of SPM in both agricultural and non-agricultural settings. I'll be listening, learning a lot here in San Francisco or Sacramento for the next month, but I'm eager to learn about the work that California stakeholders are doing all over the state. And congratulations again to the IPM Achievement Awardees, and looking forward to working with all of you to foster sustainable pest management in California. Thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much, Michael. Today, we are very fortunate to be able to recognize California innovators and leaders whose practice of integrated pest management prioritizes protecting the health and the environment of our state and helps accelerate a system-wide transition to sustainable pest management. This year's awardees have implemented IPM in organic agriculture, have advanced traditional IPM practices through new technology, and have dedicated their careers to promoting integrated pest management. Before we learn more about today's awardees, I'm honored to introduce a few distinguished guests this afternoon. Please join me in welcoming our first guest, Joe Shea, Deputy Cabinet Secretary with Governor Gavin Newsom's office.
Can you see me, Julie? Oh, there we go. Okay.
Here you are. Welcome, Joe.
Sorry to keep everybody waiting. Thank you so much, Julie. Hey, everyone. Joe Shea, Deputy Cabinet Secretary for Governor Newsom. So excited to be here with you all today. As you know, safe, sustainable pest management that's effective and really celebrates the legacy that California has on this topic is so critical for securing a stable and healthy food supply, as well as supporting growers and economic vitality for our agriculture sector, as well as protecting the health of Californians and the environment. In California, we're so fortunate to build on those decades of practice of integrated pest management in order to expand the awareness, the adoption, and the achievability, ultimately, of safer and more sustainable pest management. Fostering IPM, accelerating SPM approaches across California is such a cross-agency collaborative process that includes ongoing engagement with agricultural, urban, community, universities, local government, NGOs, private sector folks. I see a lot of you here today, and I'm so excited that we get to share this space together. And the leaders and innovators recognized today, they're just so important to advancing this work, advancing the future of this topic and the future of California's safe and sustainable pest management. So just on behalf of the governor's office, want to sincerely congratulate all of this year's IPM Achievement Award winners. Your commitment, your expertise, your willingness to innovate, it's part and parcel of who we are as Californians. And I couldn't be more excited to share this space with you today. So, really excited to expand pest management, again, that's safe, effective, sustainable for everyone, support our healthy food supply chain, and support healthy and vibrant communities across California. Let me turn it back to you, Julie. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Joe. Really appreciate you being here today with us to celebrate our winners. And now I'd like to introduce our Secretary for Environmental Protection, Yana Garcia. Thanks so much for joining us today, Secretary Garcia.
Of course. Thank you, Julie. And thanks to the team and especially to all the awardees here. I'm so excited to be here for the 30th Annual Integrated Pest Management Achievement Awards. I know we have a very exciting group of awardees this year who are working to advance integrated pest management practices in such innovative ways all across the state. Your leadership in adopting IPM will be recognized and celebrated today, of course, but I really want you to know that we value our partnership with you every day and want to support your continued leadership in expanding the practice of IPM across the state. Our mission at Cal EPA, as some of you may know, is to restore, protect, and enhance the environment to ensure public health, environmental quality, and economic vitality. Cali PA's Department of Pesticide Regulation is critical to this mission. The Department of Pesticide Regulation helps us move toward a future where pest management is safe, effective, and sustainable. For decades, the state has used pesticides to protect our crops, our cities, our homes, and our businesses from pests. But new pest pressures from rapidly changing climate conditions and our evolving scientific understanding of pesticide-related risks to people and the environment require us to now think differently about how we manage those pests. This is why Cali PA, the Department of Pesticide Regulation, and our partners at the California Department of Food and Agriculture convened a diverse group of representatives across industries to develop a sustainable pest management roadmap, which was released last year. We know today that system-wide adoption of sustainable pest management and the many interconnected steps to get us there require so much collaboration, as Joe was just mentioning. Not just at Cali PA and the department, as well as with our colleagues at CDFA, but also across all agricultural partners, universities, community residents, nonprofits, foundations, and local governments. We're committed to working with each and every one of you and supporting you as you continue to lead in the space of integrated pest management. And I want to share my sincere appreciation, admiration, and respect for each of the winners: Park Farming Organics, UAV IQ, Gina Beller-Koffer, and Dr. Frank Salome. Thank you for your ongoing work to manage pests in a way that is safe and sustainable for people and the environment, and for leading important innovation, research, and outreach that will support system-wide change in the way that pests are managed to support IPM adoption and sustainable pest management all across the state of California. Thank you so much again for having me. I'm very pleased with all of the work that is reflected here today, and I'll turn it over to my good friend and key partner in this work and colleague, Secretary Karen Ross. Over to you, Karen.
Thanks, Secretary Garcia. It's always fun to share a podium with you, although it would be more fun in person if we could have an in-person start to this little event, and then finish it with like cupcakes and sparkling wine or something like that. But I guess that will be for another day. But 30 years is definitely worth celebrating. So congratulations to the department. I think it's terrific that this celebration was created 30 years ago. In a previous life, I was a recipient of that with my organization that I was with. So I know how honored people feel that there's this kind of public recognition, because so much of the work that happens, especially in agriculture, goes unnoticed or taken for granted. What the intellectual investment is, as well as the practical application on a daily basis. And I'm so proud of the state of California and the people that have helped make it possible for us to continually improve and evolve and embrace the future, which is a challenging one because climate change is truly presenting us new challenges. I know that every day because of the public programs that we run to exclude invasive pests and to make sure we've got a rapid response when they happen, and to make sure that we've got the best tools available, starting with biological solutions when we do have an infestation of invasive pests. I think about what has really made integrated pest management what it is in this state is going back more than 30 years ago, when the state legislature created the Integrated Pest Management Program as part of a statewide program within the UC Ag and Natural Resources. Tremendous work that's been done through that by our friends in Extension, by those researchers on campus that are about, discovering those new methodologies, and then our friends in Extension who are the translational bodies and footsteps out in the fields, bringing that to the end users of what those new approaches can be. And we're going to need that more than ever with the changing climate and some of the impacts we've already seen with new pests, and our ability to be successful in growing the healthy food that we do in California. So I'm excited to do the work with you. I'm excited to say that I want to call out a few friends. First of all, I want to start with the people. It's always people that for me make up what makes our state such a special place, and California agriculture so special itself. Frank Salem, I've worked with I haven't worked with him for 40 years, which is how long he's been very active in this field, but I've worked with him for almost 30 years, and he does a lot of volunteer work for a lot of the committees that we both share. And I just have so much respect for what he has done. Gina is a real pioneer in organic pest management methodologies. She was with one of the pioneers in organic production of leafy greens. Another very impressive background for her. And Scott Park and Park Farming Organics. Scott, this is like your season. I know that you were a Leopold winner that was announced in December. Congratulations on that, in addition to this. Just thank you for your leadership and all that you do in this area. And then I want to call out innovation and technology. When I think about innovation, it's the way we eradicate pests on behalf of the state of California. Oftentimes these are in urban settings. So we're always looking for the new, most innovative, most effective way of doing that, smallest environmental impact and intrusion into the life of our residential neighbors. And we have been leaders in developing sterile insect technology release. We worked for years and years and years to eradicate the pink bollworm by using biological control. And UAV IQ Precision Ag is doing that kind of work, but with a new deployment methodology with drone releases. And I've watched that in the fields of Grimway down in the high desert, where the ladybugs are being released by a drone. And it's pretty remarkable what happens in agriculture that makes it such a dynamic and important part of our lives in delivering the healthy, safe food that we all appreciate. So congratulations to all of our winners. It's such an honor to know you and to have this opportunity to celebrate your achievements. And I want to say thank you to Secretary Garcia, to my good friend, Julie Henderson, the director of DPR, and a welcome to our new SPM directors. So with that, I'll turn it back to you, Julie. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Secretary Ross. Really appreciate you being here and sharing your experience working with each of our award winners today. And now I'd like to turn it over to Lisa Herbert, the Sutter County Agricultural Commissioner and President of the California Agricultural Commissioners and Sealers Association. We had the good fortune to have Commissioner Herbert serve on the Sustainable Pest Management Work Group, along with one of our winners today, Scott Park. So really glad to have both of them here today, and welcome, Commissioner Herbert.
Thank you so much, Director Henderson. I hope everybody can hear me okay. So on behalf of California's 55 agricultural commissioners and staff, I want to share my appreciation for the leaders recognized in today's IPM Achievement Award ceremony that highlighted the effective integrated pest management approaches across both urban and agricultural settings. It is critical that we manage and prevent pests to protect both our public health and our food supply. Across the state, growers and pest management practitioners who take integrated pest management approach as one of the tools available that are contributing to a healthy California, strong agricultural sector, and vibrant communities. The IPM achievers we are recognizing today provide important guidance, expertise, resources, crop-specific tools to expand and enhance the practice of IPM across the state. As the Sutter County Agricultural Commissioner, I was a member of the Sustainable Pest Management Work Group for 2 years alongside one of the winners here today, Scott Park of Park Farming Organics, who is an organic and regenerative grower here in Sutter County. Scott's enthusiasm, passion, and innovation are unparalleled. I'd also like to recognize Scott's son, Brian, who's carrying forward his father's vision. One of the biggest conversations we had on the SPM work group was around the value of pest prevention and the importance of developing new tools and practices so that growers and pest management practitioners have a range of options to manage pests. The Sustainable Pest Management Roadmap, developed the work group, and released last year, envisioned a more robust support for system-wide adoption of sustainable pest management, building on the important foundation already practiced through integrated pest management, and prioritizing pest prevention as a keystone action to manage pest pressure effectively and sustainably. I'm honored to be here today to recognize Scott and other IPM leaders who are practically implementing the objectives of sustainable pest management through their practice of IPM in urban and agricultural settings. Congratulations to all our winners today, and thank you for your continued work to protect people and the environment and support our healthy food supply by champion IPM. Thank you, Director Henderson and Secretary Yana Garcia and Secretary Ross for having me today.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for being here today with us. Really appreciate it. And thanks to all of our distinguished guests who help recognize our very distinguished award winners today. And so now what we've all been waiting for, time to move on to our awards. I will begin with introducing each winner, and we'll play a brief video to highlight why we're recognizing their work today. And then we'll hear from legislators who will also recognize their work. And then we'll move on to the award recipients. Our first award winner is Park Farming Organics. Based in Meridian, Sutter County, Park Farming is a leader in organic farming and has developed a holistic system that focuses on soil health to improve the farm's ecosystem and yield healthy crops without the use of pesticides to control insects, weeds, and disease. One of the farm's founders, Scott Park, recently participated, as we've noted, as a member of the cross-sector Sustainable Pest Management Work Group that developed the Sustainable Pest Management Roadmap through a 2-year collaborative process, and really appreciate Scott's participation in that group. Park Farming Organics is a model example of sustainable pest management applied in farming. And here's an overview of their work.
Park Farming Organics is a 1,400-acre farm in Meridian, California. Farming practices focus on soil health and replicate a more natural environment, resulting in high productivity.
My name's Scott Park, Park Farming Organics, founder with my wife, Ula. My son, Brian, now runs the farm. We work as advisors. The crux of our farm and why we're getting this award was that we recognize the farm depends on healthy soil to solve the ordinary problems farmers face daily while improving the environment and the community. We have been evolving this way for the last 35 years, and it seems to be finally working pretty well. Our farm evolved over time. We got up to 1985. We were using 50 different synthetic fertilizers and pesticides. All decision making was being solved by chemical, no natural processes. This is a cartoon I put together. The idea is the inputs are all important, and they all are in a holistic view of impact on the plant health. And then the plant health, you have your red petals there that are the results of healthy plants, which are the result of healthy soil. And then the idea is that the clouds also represent other positive benefits that are generated from having a healthy soil, healthy plant system. So this is what we don't do, just as get a comparison here of conventional tillage, destroying and beating the ground to death. We don't do that. The same thing, that was a wheat crop they were working last picture. This is how we handle a wheat crop, where we'll just go in, chop the wheat straw, no-till plant a multi-species cover crop into it. Quite a difference. Instead of going with a lot of inputs, we go with no inputs. Our actually total inputs are cover crops, compost, microorganisms, and seaweed. That's it on growing 20 different crops. So we make a conscientious attempt to use less plants, less tillage, less nitrogen, and less water. But we still have really healthy plants, and that generates less disease, less runoff, less insects, and less weeds. Finally, the tangible results, which we see anyway, but verified by the University of California, Davis, Amelie Godin's lab, is she took our soil, 5-gallon drums or cans, and took that soil and compared it against 4 other fields, grew the transplants, tomato transplants out of it, covered it with a net, put beet leaf hoppers under the net, left it for 2 weeks, took the net off, and the results is that we had 10% of the hits of what the rest of the soils, or more, definitely less activity, as the plant and the root had a symbiotic relationship. The plant exuded silicic acid, which kept the beet leaf hoppers off the tomato plant.
Park Farming Organics has been a leader in organic farming for many years. They have developed a holistic system that focuses on soil health to improve the farm's ecosystem and yield desirable crops without the use of pesticides. They are active in spreading SPM principles through many outlets and are an excellent example of sustainable pest management applied in farming.
Well, thank you, Scott, and really what an inspiration. And now I'd like to introduce Senator Roger Nilo to recognize park farming.
Good afternoon. I'm Senator Roger Nilo, and I would like to congratulate Park Farming Organics for receiving the Integrated Pest Management Achievement Award. In Sutter County and throughout the state, Park Farming Organics is leading the adoption of safer and more sustainable integrated pest management practices. Behind every award, certification, and recognition that Park Farming Organics has received are hardworking and passionate farmers who rise and grind daily. I am so proud and grateful to represent them in my district. Congratulations to Park Farming Organics and all the award recipients. Thank you for your efforts in maintaining our great state's leadership in agriculture through integrated pest management.
Thank you, Senator Nilo. And now I'd like to introduce Assemblymember James Gallagher to acknowledge and recognize Scott Park and park farming as well.
Hi, Assemblyman James Gallagher here, and I just want to say congratulations to Scott and the team at Park Farming Organics on being recognized for your outstanding work in integrated pest management in California agriculture. I am proud to have you in the 3rd Assembly District as a leader in organic farming. Achieving regenerative organic certification in 2022 speaks volumes to your commitment to sustainable practices. Keep up the fantastic work, and congratulations again on being one of the recipients of the 2023 Integrated Pest Management Achievement Awards.
And now I'd like to introduce our winner, Scott Park.
Thank you. I would like to thank the Department of Pesticide Regulations for considering park farming. Sorry, I'm reading. Park Farming Organics is an innovator in the world of pesticide use. I would also like to thank the following professors who, being professors, provided data, research, and insights to Brian and I over the last many years, actually, from a scientific perspective, but more importantly, we're unabashed in supporting our unorthodox farming philosophy. These 3 UC Davis professors, Kate Scow, Amelie Godin, and Jeff Mitchell, deserve part of the award. The rest of the award should go to my family, wife Ula, son Brian, who is now the farm owner, and daughter Lila. I think the farm's trend to eliminate pesticides was heavily influenced by Ula and the kids when they were young, spending constant hours in the fields, either working or watching the farm activities. However, I started feeling a little uncomfortable about them going in the fields that were recently sprayed with a chemical. And I found myself going, is this right? You know, I'm kind of worried about my family, and I'm not quite comfortable with this. And not only am I not comfortable about my family having some risk, I also am uncomfortable with our crew having the risk. And it continued right to, we're uncomfortable about, am I putting wildlife at risk? As we enjoy ourselves, we're very lucky to be out in the country and see constant life. So this raised the question, what am I going to do about it? I didn't know what to do, how to do it, and the main one was, could we stay in business if we kicked the chemical habit? Fortunately, Brian and I recognized quite a few years ago the benefits of soil health to solve pest issues, and we moved on that track ever since. We realize pest control efforts are going on right now, today, this minute, because with every inch of our 24 fields having green plants feeding the microbes, when the bad guys show up later in the spring or summer, an arsenal of good guys will be in the ground to have a symbiotic relationship with the plant to ward off disease and insects. It works. But the learning never ends on our farm. I'm into my 51st year of farming and happy to say I've never had a boring day. The learning curve is so immense and unlimited. Every day in every field, there's a potential to pick up nuances from the plant or the soil. There's a story being told. It is up to Brian and I to use our 5 senses to understand that story in order to make every acre healthier every year. Without question, the efficient management of pests pulsates from the soil. It is safe to say on our farm, nurturing life in the soil is just good business. Thank you.
Scott, thank you so much. Truly, you are an inspiration, and I'm just so struck by the collaboration that you highlighted from the folks that you see to the soil, which I think is really speaks volumes to the work that you and our other award winners are representing here today. So we thank you so much for your leadership and your innovation, and truly for being such an inspiration and helping us see that we can learn so much every day in this practice. So thank you very much. So our next award recipient is Los Angeles-based UAV IQ Precision Agriculture. UAV IQ Precision Agriculture specializes in drone-based releases of beneficial insects and other beneficial organisms. Their technology increases the use of biologicals to reduce the use of chemical pesticides and reduce the potential for pesticide impacts on the environment, as well as on farm workers and local communities. By using biologicals, UAV IQ also supports pollinator protection and biodiversity. And I'd now like to share an overview of their work.
UAVIQ's journey traces back to the founder's Air Force background. Andreas Newman, a seasoned officer and pilot, played a pivotal role in the nascent Global Hawk program. As part of a small leadership team, he navigated the challenges of making these drones globally operational and combat ready. This experience shaped the ethos of UAVIQ, emphasizing practical problem solving and collaborative innovation for precise biocontrol delivery by drone. Traditional pest management methods are labor-intensive, with limitations in reach and effectiveness, and are often impractical in demanding field conditions. It's here that drones emerge as the transformative solution for implementing sustainable biocontrols and integrated pest management. As an IPM leader, UAVIQ uses drones solely for biocontrol delivery, not for pesticide applications. Drones are quicker, more precise applicators and capable of reaching areas beyond human accessibility. UAVIQ invests countless hours in the field, engaging with customers and partners, identifying their needs, and crafting technology, tactics, and procedures to deliver excellence with every flight. UAVIQ maintains a steady commitment to research. They collaborate with esteemed academic institutions and industry-leading researchers, proposing, designing, and conducting single to multi-year research projects to advance integrated pest management through rigorous field trials and offer more effective and sustainable solutions for the agricultural community. UAVIQ's dedication extends beyond fields. They actively contribute to education, sharing insights through talks, field days, interviews, and publications. Empowering the industry with knowledge is a core part of their mission. As an example, UAVIQ offers an alternative to the commonly used chemicals used to control spider mites. These chemicals pose potential risks to ecosystems, specifically to pollinators, aquatic life, and non-target organisms. Meanwhile, manual biocontrol applications can pose a logistical challenge for growers. UAVIQ overcomes these hurdles by using drones to deploy natural enemies for two-spotted spider mite control, which can cover acreage even when fields are inaccessible for manual applications. By replacing pesticides with drone-based biocontrol, UAVIQ supports a more sustainable cycle, preserving vital soil organisms and tackling the pressing concern of pesticide resistance. This triggers a virtuous cycle of enhanced soil health, fewer and less severe pest outbreaks, and vibrant plants fueled by increased beneficial populations. This not only yields healthier fields, but also cultivates economic prosperity. UAVIQ contributes to a safer and more sustainable farming landscape in California. They are continually seeking new ways to protect crops with biocontrol, with the goal to drive towards sustainable IPM.
Great. And now I would like to introduce Assemblymember Isaac Bryan to recognize UAVIQ's work.
Good afternoon, and thank you for letting me join you for this incredible and powerful, momentous occasion. In California, we lead. We lead with critical thought, we lead with innovation, we lead with vibrant companies that are doing incredible work all across the state, and especially right here in the 55th Assembly District. That innovation is best exemplified by the recipient of the 2023 Integrated Pest Management Achievement Award, UAVIQ Precision Agriculture. Congratulations. I'm proud that our district has innovators like Andres and the team. I'm grateful for all the work to protect biodiversity, reduce toxic runoff, provide healthier and safer working environments for our farmers, and protecting our communities as a whole. Thank you to Director Henderson, and congratulations to the UAVIQ team. It's your work, it's your innovation, it's your leadership. That's why you won this award, and I couldn't be prouder to represent you here in the 55th Assembly District. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Assemblymember Bryan. Really appreciate it. And now I would like to introduce our winner, Andreas Newman, with Precision Agriculture.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for this prestigious award. Especially in light of everyone else who's receiving this award, it truly is an honor to be recognized by California Department of Pesticide Regulations Achievement Award. My journey into agriculture began a little bit unusually. It began as I transitioned out of the military and I was searching for a new mission. Like many veterans, I really wanted a purpose. And entrepreneurship seemed like the most flexible way to find one, but I still needed to find a specific direction. My first stop after leaving the Air Force was at UCLA Anderson, where my executive MBA classmates and professors played pivotal roles in my transition, providing me with the time and the skills to navigate new terrain. It was also during this program I was introduced to agribusiness by a classmate who had family in the industry, and we began exploring together. I had no idea that these would be the first out of thousands of hours spent in the field learning. I knew that agriculture and the future of our food supply is a critical area to focus on, but getting out in the field and talking to people working in it, I learned that the people working in this industry are people whom I want to work with and help the best that I can. In short, I found my next purpose. However, I may have underestimated the downside of turning away from a career with a guaranteed paycheck. While studying on campus, I saw an email offering free lunch for attending a presentation. I had no idea what the presentation was for, but it ended up being for a program called Startup Chile, and one thing led to another, and chasing down a free sandwich ended up with my moving out to Chile for a year, getting our first funding for the company, and finding a partner who became an instrumental part of this company, Tomas Grandparent. Therefore, we learned a diverse range of motivations and decision-making, different from how growers made decisions here. Those insights became invaluable, provided knowledge that we not only needed to set out and find technical solutions, we needed to fit into how growers operate on a daily basis and how they test and adopt new technology. We spent our first few years focused on using drones to detect problems. We knew that early detection could lead to optimal outcomes. We also realized that in agriculture, we needed to do more than just identify issues, we needed to solve them. And the first people who asked us if we could drop millions of insects and mites from a drone honestly thought they might be high. They very well may have been, but they were able to describe the need as well as the challenges well enough to make us evaluate the opportunity. We spent about a year evaluating if there was a significant problem with the current practices. We learned from growers, pest control advisors, and insectaries that indeed there are. We learned that with every application we would make, we could prevent a meaningful amount of pesticides from being introduced into the ecosystem. We learned pest management could be environmentally friendly while also being economically viable. While this was exciting and extremely attractive to us, was it a business? Well, we learned that biocontrol has proven to be effective and economically viable, but it needs to be timed right, something that isn't always easy to do with the logistical challenges of manually releasing. We learned that application challenges are commonly cited as a leading constraint preventing wider biological control usage. We also learned, most importantly, that at least a handful of growers were willing and eager to give us a try, test us out in their fields and prove our merit. And we're incredibly grateful for that opportunity, as well as the willing partners who helped introduce us to them and help us tackle the challenges. By no means are we done finding solutions. We learn of new challenges on an almost daily basis, whether we want to or not. But I'm exceptionally proud of our team's ability to meet these challenges, as well as the trust our partners place in us by investing their time and knowledge to collaborate with us. What keeps us motivated is that we learn of the positive impacts our services are providing on a daily basis. We are still helping boots on the ground, even if they're not combat boots. This achievement award is not just a feather in the cap for our startup, though it certainly feels like a big, bright peacock feather for us. It's validation that the years of dedication to our purpose are indeed worthwhile, affirming that positive impact we're making in an industry. Sustainable pest management is a worthy cause we hope more people get behind as the benefits get more widely evangelized. I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to our insectary partners, particularly Copert, for believing in us and giving us a place to start this journey. A special thank you to all the early adopters and customers who took a chance on us. Your trust and feedback have been invaluable. I also want to express my gratitude to the pest control advisors and insectaries who continue to support us with their knowledge, insights, and help us learn something new every single day. In conclusion, I'm extremely grateful for this award and the opportunity to contribute to the agricultural industry in a meaningful way. The achievements and dedication of other recipients of this award are truly impressive and motivation. Being included in their company is humbling. Here's to many more successes and innovations ahead. And a special thank you to Evan and Tomas for battling with me every single day to get better and better at it. Once again, thank you to our fellow recipients and to the staff of CDPR for all they do to make this award so meaningful. Thank you again.
Well, congratulations again, Andreas and UAV IQ. And Andreas, thank you so much for sharing such an inspirational story. And have to say, I love that it began with a food incentive that led you down this incredibly productive path. And I think, like Scott Park shared with us, the collaboration that goes into this is truly remarkable and really speaks to the importance of such broad collaboration to develop such innovative solutions and to continue problem solving every day. So thank you so much for being such an inspiration to all of us. And now I'd like to move on to our Lifetime Achievement Awards. We're going to be recognizing 2 individuals for their work across their careers in advancing IPM in California. The Lifetime Achievement Award recognizes individuals with 20 or more years of IPM research, professional practice, or outreach experience. Our first Lifetime Achievement Award goes to Gina Bella-Coffer. Gina is receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award for her 30+ years of work as a pest control advisor specializing in organic agriculture. Her work around California's Central Coast has included developing, implementing, and promoting safer and more sustainable IPM farming practices. She is a highly regarded pest management expert who developed a whole systems approach that combines many organic strategies to support healthy soils, reduce pest pressures, decrease the use of pesticides, protect the environment and pesticide handlers, and reduce the overall cost of pest management. Gina spent more than 15 years as the in-house pest control advisor and agronomist for Mission Organics and Earthbound Farms, the largest producer of leafy greens on the West Coast. She is currently the Sustainable Solutions Manager for Wilbur Ellis, where she works to build the company's organics program and helps growers maintain healthy soils and reduce synthetic inputs. Here's a bit more about Gina and her contributions to IPM adoption.
As a longtime licensed pest control advisor, Gina Bellacolfer has dedicated her career to developing safer, more sustainable pest management practices for growers on the Central Coast. Gina is an industry leader who is recognized for her commitment to reducing the use of conventional pesticides and increasing the adoption of integrated pest management practices. She is a trusted resource for growers throughout the state. She began her career after college by obtaining her PCA license and going to work on the Central Coast of California, the salad bowl of the nation, where a very large portion of the nation's leafy greens and specialty vegetables are grown. She started in the conventional ag sector before colleges were teaching the concept of organic farming. But early in her career, she experienced the cycle of dependence on synthetic chemistries and conventional pesticides. Seeing the growing demand for organic produce, but knowing there was a lack of consolidated IPM resources for growers, she put together the first collection of organic product labels to provide growers with more sustainable pest and fertility management options instead of traditional synthetic products. And from then on, she was seen by growers as a leading expert in organics and sustainable pest management. Gina has spent her career developing and refining the whole systems approach, which she describes as a holistic approach that starts with understanding the soil as a living ecosystem inhabited by trillions of organisms that influence how crops respond to stressors such as pest attacks. Beyond the soil, the farm ecosystem is enhanced by crop and biological diversity and is connected in many aspects.
I've known Gina for probably nearly 20 years at this point, and I have to say that it's her enthusiasm and dedication to really thinking outside the box about how we need to change how we farm and what tools are available to move us forward. Her knowledge in the biological space, as those products emerge, and the passion towards adoption of those products has been amazing. And really just her knowledge and understanding of the role of habitat on the farm, her steadfast outreach and dedication to increasing biodiversity in the farm is why I admire her and her passion.
Gina's impact reaches beyond the farm. She is an expert at explaining the significance of having a diverse ecosystem, both above and below ground, that benefits the overall ag and IPM system. Her practical knowledge and communication style have made her a trusted expert. She regularly speaks at conferences and field days and has been involved in research with the local University of California County Extension Advisors and the National Resource Conservation Service.
Gina has helped impact the adoption of the IPM practices. She goes out and hosts her own conferences to get growers together to spread the knowledge, or going to other conferences and speaking, or being a moderator to talk about soil fertility, IPM, organic pest control.
Gina currently works for Wilbur Ellis as a key account agronomist, where she has been given the opportunity and support to implement the whole systems approach and safer, more sustainable IPM practices to a wider audience, including conventional farms.
We're doing some pseudo-regenerative type of farming practices where we're taking the cover crop down, but we're not fully incorporating it. A little different, not what we're used to, but the results were good. We've seen some results, and we're continuing, to work with it and experiment with it and see how it plays out. She's done a lot of work that's helped us become better farmers. So I think, there's a lot of credit to Gina when it comes to the way a lot of us farmers think and do what we do. She's had a lot of input in that.
Gina's holistic approach to pest management has influenced the adoption of safer, more sustainable IPM practices in California. Her whole systems approach has helped growers to reduce pest issues, decrease the use of conventional pesticides, protect the environment and pesticide handlers, and reduce the overall cost of commercial pest management. Gina's exceptional career, communication style, and leadership demonstrate that IPM and holistic practices can help growers depend less on synthetic chemistries for sustainable pest management in California and beyond.
And now I'd like to introduce Senator John Laird to recognize Gina's work.
Hello, this is Senator John Laird, and it's my pleasure to join you in congratulating Gina Colfer in getting the Integrated Pest Management Lifetime Achievement Award for Monterey County. She's been doing this for 30 years, and she really has taken something that 30 years ago was very challenging, was probably not accepted in many quarters, and has worked so hard with regard to pesticide usage, healthy soils, fostering a more sustainable approach to agriculture. And so I think that it's always hard in one moment to synthesize a career like that, but it has been a long time effort, and I suspect that this achievement is long overdue for recognition. So I'm just happy to join in congratulating Gina for this long overdue award that is really based on an incredible body of work. I wish I could congratulate her personally right now, but congratulations, good work.
Thank you, Senator Laird. And now I'd like to introduce Gina Beller-Colfer. Gina, congratulations for your incredible work in achieving Lifetime Achievement Award here today.
Gosh, that video made me smile. Thank you. So first off, I really want to thank CDPR for sponsoring this award for 30 years. I'm honored to be included as a recipient of this distinguished award, along with others here today who are so deserving and inspiring. I never envisioned being recognized for working toward a more holistic form of pest management growing up on a small apple farm on the central coast of California. On our farms, synthetic pesticides were part of the norm, with my dad and brothers spraying for codling moths, scab, and powdery mildew with the big Aerofan sprayers. It was just how things were done. I can't thank my mom and brothers, Chuck and John, enough, who encouraged me to go to college by way of Hartnell and then on to Cal Poly, where I studied crop science. After graduation, 1 week later, I started my pest control advisor's career at a local ag input and application company, walking and making recommendations on a variety of vegetables. I feel so fortunate to have met during this time the love of my life, Bill Colfer, where we met where I was an intern at Plant Sciences. Yes, I was the intern, and we will be celebrating our 35th wedding anniversary in May. We've been blessed with two amazing children, Alexandra and Garrett, who are also plant lovers and agriculturalists, and during their childhood had to endure the long conversations about what we were seeing out in the fields and be patient with the long hours of work involved in agriculture. But during these years of my employment, I started thinking there had to be a more holistic way to deal with pests. And talking to my husband's parents, who were organic gardeners and beekeepers, encouraged me on my organic journey. I was fortunate to have been based in the Salinas Valley and met up with some of the early large organic growers like Mike Thorpe, Stan Pura, Otto Cram, and Israel Morales Sr., who took me under his wings and educated me on the beautiful world of soil and what it can do for us if we listen, look, and feel. I then joined the dynamic team at Mission Organics, the largest organic leafy green growers at the time, and we became even larger when we were purchased by Earthbound Farm. I worked at Earthbound Farm for 15 years in a variety of roles, including managing the field food safety team, all things compliance, and agronomy. I'm fortunate now to be working at Wilbur Ellis, a company steeped in history who supports my efforts to promote the whole systems approach to pest management, building biodiversity both above and below ground, and utilizing new products that are softer and biologically based and technologies to help the grower be more efficient. I've been able to collaborate with so many amazing people over the years and want to recognize the importance of our local organic certifier, CCOF, our amazing UC Extension staff, state and federal nonprofit researchers, and then too many to name. But most influential for me are Richard Smith, Eric Brennan, and Karen Lowell for their dedication to progressive agriculture on the Central Coast. So thank you. And to all the academics and researchers doing pertinent work to help our growers move forward. I love that organics and regenerative agriculture are more mainstream now, and that biology and ecosystem services are part of that. I keep doing this for our future generations, so my granddaughters, Rory and Bali, are ensured to eat safe, healthy, and affordable food grown in a manner that is safe for our environment, people, and the longevity of the farmers. Don't forget the farmers, because they are the ones doing the heavy lifting. So I also want to thank Dave and Shannon from Agroxine for this nomination. And thank you again to my amazing family. And thank you, CDPR, for this honor. Thank you.
Gina, thank you so much for your lifelong leadership in IPM and for all of the work that you've done in expanding the practice, in educating folks, and really forging new paths. We are incredibly indebted to you for your work and really appreciate you being here today to share your story with us. And so now I'd like to turn to our next award winner, Dr. Frank Zalam. Dr. Zalam is receiving a well-deserved Lifetime Achievement Award for his 40-plus year career as a distinguished professor of entomology at UC Davis, and for serving as the first Extension IPM coordinator for the statewide UC IPM program, and as the director of the UC IPM program. Dr. Zalam continues to make important contributions to advancing IPM practices in his retirement. He is currently a UC Davis Distinguished Professor Emeritus, an advisor to the California Department of Food and Agriculture's Office of Pesticide Consultation and Analysis, and a science advisor to the U.S. Department of Agriculture's National Institute of Food and Agriculture. Dr. Zalam has contributed to broad adoption of IPM practices for numerous agricultural pests, resulting in less insecticide use, reduced runoff impacts, and fewer high-risk pesticide exposures. And here's a bit more about Dr. Zalam.
Dr. Frank Zalam has demonstrated a career-long dedication to advancing integrated pest management practices in California crops. He has actively worked for over 40 years on IPM projects that support economics, the environment, and human health. His efforts have led to a broad adoption of IPM practices that have resulted in less insecticide use, reduced runoff impacts, less high-risk pesticide exposure, and reduced applications. Dr. Zalam served as a distinguished professor of entomology, among other roles, at University of California, Davis from 1980 to 2018. In 1980, Dr. Zalam was selected as the first Extension IPM coordinator for the all-new statewide UC Integrated Pest Management Program. From 1986 to 2002, he served as the UC IPM Program Director, where he helped build the UC IPM program into the gold standard for accurate, up-to-date, and scientifically researched IPM knowledge.
During Frank's time, a lot of the items that we are still working on and still developing and expanding, the foundation was laid for those. And so I kind of feel like, we're continuing to build on his legacy.
Dr. Zalam has worked on many pest management projects and specialty crops throughout his career, including almonds, strawberries, tomatoes, and olives. In the 1980s, he worked with the UC Cooperative Extension Farm Advisors and the Almond Board of California to develop and implement a pest management program for navel orangewort. This pest management program includes winter sanitation, early harvest, and development of a degree-day model that has been widely adopted.
Frank Zalam has been definitely a leader and instrumental in the advancement of integrated pest management in almonds. And of particular note, his work on navel orangewort has been monumental. We have, over the years, have gone from a industry damage record of 8.8% from navel orangeworm down to 2% or less on average yearly. So it's been highly significant. And this is a function of his leadership, his extension efforts, and his research.
Your life of service to improving pest management in agriculture is something the California almond industry has tremendously benefited from.
Throughout his career, Dr. Zalem has authored or co-authored over 350 journal articles and given over 900 presentations on his research on IPM practices. He has acted as a mentor and contributor to the next generation of IPM experts. Dr. Zalem taught arthropod pest management at UC Davis from 2005 to 2018. The course was taught with an IPM focus and designed to give students background to pass the Insects, Mites, and Other Invertebrates section of the California Pest Control Advisor License Examination. He served as chair for 14 PhD dissertation committees and 7 Masters of Science thesis committees at UC Davis. Former students have gone on to become pest control advisors, heads of departments at other colleges, or win IPM awards for their work in developing and implementing IPM practices.
I can't overstate the impact that Frank has had on me professionally. Working with Frank, seeing his passion for agriculture in California, his encyclopedic knowledge of all of the different crops that he works on, and his relationships with the grower communities and industry stakeholders and broader agricultural world within California was just incredibly inspiring.
Dr. Zalem will continue to shape the field of integrated pest management as a UC Davis Distinguished Professor Emeritus, as an advisor in the California Department of Food and Agriculture's Office of Pesticide Consultation and Analysis, and as a science advisor for the United States Department of Agriculture's National Institute of Food and Agriculture, where he runs a grant program that advances applied research and development in food and agricultural sciences in historically Black colleges and universities. His extraordinary work has led to immeasurable benefits in the field of integrated pest management that will continue to impact California and beyond.
And now I'd like to introduce Assemblymember Cecilia Aguiar-Curry to recognize Dr. Zalem's incredible career.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cecilia Aguiar-Curry, and I represent the 4th District, which includes all of Yolo County and, of course, the prestigious University of California, Davis. It is truly an honor to join the department today to recognize Dr. Frank Zalem for his distinguished career, years of leadership and mentorship, and incredible contributions at the local, state, and federal levels in the fields of entomology and integrated pest management. Dr. Zalem, you've worked and collaborated with the state of California for longer than I have. Your career is impressive and certainly to be commended. We are very grateful that you chose to call this region your home and that you have devoted your time and energy to researching safe, effective, and sustainable pest management practices for some of California's most important crops. Your research has a real impact on both urban and agricultural communities, like mine, who depend on your understanding and innovations in pest management to keep our homes, our communities, and our livelihoods thriving. Thank you for your service and for continuing to work in this space as Distinguished Professor Emeritus. Congratulations.
Thank you, Assemblymember Aguiar-Curry. Unfortunately, Dr. Zalem wasn't able to be with us here today, but he has shared a video with us accepting his award and expressing his appreciation for all of you being here today and celebrating the work of IPM across all of our award winners. So here we go, Frank.
I'd like to thank the department for honoring me with this recognition. There was an entire generation of individuals who came before us that framed and developed the IPM concept. We owe them a debt of gratitude for bringing the importance of the approach to the attention of decision makers and passing their passion for IPM on to the next generation of scientists, consultants, and farmers who tried to refine IPM and promote its implementation. I was fortunate to join the University of California when this generational change was occurring, and I'm grateful for administrators such as Ivan Thomason, Jim Lyons, and Charlie Hess, who allowed me and an outstanding group of IPM believers like Mary Louise Flint, Joyce Strand, Bill Barnett, Pete Goodell, and the rest of the UC IPM program staff to help adapt and deliver IPM information to pest managers across California. I want to emphasize their critical role in helping to transition IPM research to practice in California. Their efforts have had a lasting impact on how IPM extension is conducted at the university. On a personal note, I'd also like to thank Nick Casano, who retired from UC Riverside 15 years ago, for his mentorship in how to be an effective extension entomologist at the beginning of my UC career. I want to acknowledge the visionary leadership associated with many California commodity boards and consultant organizations that I have had the pleasure to work with during my career. A good example is the Almond Board of California, whose longtime production and environmental research directors, Bob Curtis and Gabrielle Ludwig, have set the standard for how a major farming industry can bridge seemingly disparate interests to create an acceptable outcome for all stakeholders. My students and postdocs have been an inspiration for me. The research success I've managed to achieve is largely the result of the new ideas and enthusiasm that they have brought to my lab over the years. They will always have a special place in my heart, and I couldn't be prouder of their individual accomplishments. Finally, I want to thank my family for their support of my professional career. They tolerated my long working hours and excessive travel that permitted me to do the job that I loved. IPM is in another generational transition, and I hope that this new generation of consultants, specialists, researchers, and decision makers will be able to experience the same excitement of discovering and implementing new IPM approaches that I was so lucky to experience over the last 45 years. Thank you again for presenting me with this honor.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Zellum. What an incredible legacy, and we thank you so much for your lifetime both as an educator and as a leader in expanding IPM across the state, and for your continued work in that regard. And congratulations to all of our winners. Before we wrap up this year's exciting awards ceremony today, I'd like to take a moment to recognize the people who made the ceremony possible. This includes our IPM branch staff who screen potential awardees, design outreach materials, produce videos, and coordinate everyone who has to be here today. It's a team effort, but I want to give a special shout out to Amy Norman, Lisa Estridge, Michelle Andriata, Courtney Runyon, Sean Detweiler, Kim Steinman, Catherine Bilheimer, Karina Campos, Kimberly Crispin, Matt Fossen, Brian Engel, Madia Nabong, Estella Navarro, Andy Wynn, Melissa Plemons, Byron Tam, and Jordan Weibel. Please join me in giving them all a hand. And in closing, I'd like to take one more opportunity to congratulate our winners. These honors are so incredibly well-deserved. Your collective work is helping ensure a more sustainable future for all Californians. And thank you to everyone for tuning in to today's ceremony. You make all of this possible too. We appreciate your interest in and support of today's award recipients and for expanding integrated pest management practices across California. Our award winners joined an esteemed group of 186 other individuals and organizations we've recognized over the years for their important contributions to expanding IPM innovation and adoption across California. In closing, I'd like to again play our 30-year recap video one more time in case you missed it at the beginning. Thank you all so much and have a great rest of your day.